Welcome to the Matt Beck Podcast. Woke up this way. He's got a lot of cool stuff he's gonna show you today. The latest news, industry topics, and business tips. For all hairstylists and salon owners, it's time to flip the script. Grab your precision scissors, barber combs, and swivel twist razors. Let's cut a bob, a quick shag, pixie cut with a little bit of flavor. Check out the live classes, product reviews, let's rock on. Don't forget to check out freesaloneducation.com. I woke up this way. It's gonna be a great day. Chop it, clip it, spray it, flip it.
What's up, guys?
I woke up this way.
Welcome to today's class. Super excited to be hanging out with you guys. Get logged in. I can see you guys in the chat. Kristen, what's up? Good to see you. Let's see if I can get your comments up here. How to get back in the groove here. Move it. Do this. What's up? Everybody say hi in the chat. Good to see you guys. Wahida, good. What's up? Jess, Teresa. Wait, Avi, I'm trying to get you there. There you are. Awesome. What's up? Very cool, very cool. All right, guys, so you guys know the deal. If you're new to this show, if you've never seen it before, type new in the chat so everybody can say hi to you. If you're an OG, you've been watching this since the beginning. We're now 55 episodes in since quarantine. So that's 55 classes straight, over 55 hours of education for free on here. So if you guys can do me a favor and just share this with whatever social platform you're on right now and just say, come join us. Let's try to get as many people in the room as possible. Today, what we're gonna be working on is a inside-out bob. You guys may have never even heard of this. I'm not even sure if it's really a thing, but I do know that cutting from interior to the exterior is a thing. So today, I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. And it's actually maybe one of my new favorite ways to cut a bob because you get to determine the height of the graduation prior to the cut, and it's just an easier way to visualize it. So I'm excited to share with you guys how to do that today. Very cool, very cool. All right, we got some OGs. Got some OGs, there we go. Got some newbies, good to see you guys. Can you teach us from basic? So AJ, that's actually a great question. Here's the thought process on that. To me, everything is kind of basic. It's all taking the basic things that you learn and then adapting them. I think the mindset gets more advanced, but the technique stays basic. So today I'll be showing basic things, but the mindset, the thought process about it might be a little bit more advanced. So just take it for what it is. I think one of the beauties of learning is that you'll watch this today and maybe you'll get something from it. You'll cut hair for 6 months and then you watch it again in 6 months, and I think you'll take something else from it. That's one of my favorite things about watching people learning from different things. You absorb things differently over time. So just enjoy the show. All right, cool. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? Laura, OG, Wahida, of course. Let's see. You can do angles actually where, cool. Love seeing you guys talking already. All right, sweet. So, and I also, those of you guys that are OGs, I got some new tunes today. So I'm feeling good about that. All right, cool. All right, so let's see how many people we got in here. We got quite a few people. Let's hit the share button. Let's get more people in here. YouTube's growing. It's good to see that. If you guys aren't on my text messages, make sure that you text me. Let me post that up here. 215-608-2612. As soon as I go live, I send you guys a text to let you know the link where you can watch, because social media likes to hide things from people sometimes. So if you're on the text, you'll absolutely get an alert to your phone, and you can join us on the chat right away, or you can watch it later whenever you have time. All right, cool. If we like the old ones, don't ditch our dance tunes. I'm not. I still got the old ones still. All right, cool. So let's see. Good to go. If you're on the Free Salon Education Facebook, hit share on that. That's a low. That's sitting low right now on those numbers. Let's get it up there. My personal Facebook, or my professional Facebook, it's growing. All right, guys. So just hit that share button for me. That's all I ask. And let's get this class started. So Before we start, I do want to say that this show is brought to you by MinervaBeauty.com. They are not only good friends of mine, they've been a sponsor and supporter of free salon education since the beginning. They just did a $5,000 giveaway. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, you saw that. They gave away $5,000 worth of furniture to some lucky winner. Hopefully it was you. I don't know. But they're always doing great things for the beauty industry. And one of the biggest things that they did was when this pandemic happened, the quarantine happened, they reached out to me right away. And they were like, we got to figure out how we can up education, right? So we started doing a bunch of interviews, talking to different people. And then this show kind of evolved from that because it was like, all right, what am I going to do while I'm just sitting here quarantined? I'm going to teach every day. So that's what we did. So now we do the show quite a bit. Trying to be consistent with it as much as possible, but thanks to Minerva Beauty that this can happen, that you guys are sitting here watching this for free, because if I didn't have people like Minerva sponsoring this stuff, then obviously I would have to make money somehow, right? So support the companies that support free salon education and are doing great things for the industry. One of the biggest things you could do is go follow them on Instagram, because they are constantly posting images of salons, and it'll give you a ton of ideas to grow your salon. If you're looking for salon furniture, go to MinervaBeauty.com. That's all I ask. Maybe you don't need it now, but maybe you'll need it in the future, and just choose them. They're my friends and they support this. So thank you to them. All right. So the way that I did today's cut is I pre-filmed it. So I'm going to do the voiceover live. If you guys have questions during the class, then just type Q and put your question so I can see it in the chat. I'll try to watch it as much as possible. It's going to be a little bit easier because my hands aren't currently working. They were working yesterday. So I'll play the video. I'll talk over it, walk you guys through it step by step. It'll go a lot smoother, and that's that. Cool. Hey, Matt, remember me? We met in California. Pradeep, what's up? Your phone is covering your face, so I can't see you. Let's see. Good to have you on here, though, for sure. All right, let's see. All right. So Marie's from New Jersey. Why don't you guys start typing in where you're from? If you don't know what to write, a lot of people write me after the show. They're like, I was on there, but I didn't know what to say. Just say where you're from. That helps, too. Comments help drive more people watching this. So let's get that going. Just type where you're from. Love to see that. All right, cool. Nancy, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Rose, I know. Let's go. Hopefully you're saying that in a positive vibe and not yelling at me, because that would be rude. All right, here we go. All right, so let's see. So I'm going to bring up the video here. I'm going to pop myself. I'm going to pause it. Let me pop myself up here. Where am I going to put myself? Right here. Up in the corner. How's that? So I'm looking at all of you guys chatting, and I can see the video. All right, so I'm going to walk you guys through how I did this technique. Basically, like I said, we're going to be cutting an inside-out bob, and it's asymmetrical. So it's this cut here. So you can see the nice hard line that we created. That graduation, I'm going to show you guys how to do that. We created this point in the back, which is fun, just creative. You don't have to do that. You could cut a straight line if you wanted to. And then we have more of a triangular feel in the front here, pushes a little bit of length towards the front. So that's what we're going to be creating today during this class. Yvonne, thank you so much. All right, so let's get started. So the sectioning here is going to be based on a side parting. So that side parting comes back, then I split the head in half, basically from behind the ear to behind the ear. And then to start off the technique, I'm going to take a vertical section straight from the parting down. So we'll have a weaker side or a less dense side, and then we'll have a heavier side in this cut. Now, the one thing I want you guys to really focus on here is as I start to take the hair out, I'm going to start in the top part of this section. So normally when we cut a bob, we start in the bottom and work our way up. What I love about this is I get to determine the actual finger angle, and I can see it better in my head of how I'm going to start this cut. So then I know exactly how much weight I'm leaving on the cut. And then I just follow that line straight down to the nape of the neck, and then I can clean up that neckline later. So this for me makes so much more sense. And I want to say that it was Ben Brown inspired this. I saw a little clip of him on Instagram, and I saw him cutting that way. So, so super cool, and that's how we're gonna go through it today. All right, let's continue through. So check my finger angle. Now, if they have higher density of hair, then I might shift my finger angle to be a little higher elevation. But as I'm working through, this is kind of pretty easy just to kind of visualize that, pointing it right down at the nape. All right, guys, cool. So see my finger angle as I'm working through it. And now I'll just continue down that section, staying vertical through it and just connecting those 2 points. So I've got my point from above. It's right in the inside of my finger down to my fingertip. Right through there. There you go. And again, guys, if you have questions as we go through it, I'm here to answer them, and I'm going to walk you through each move that I make. But we don't necessarily, this is kind of a visual thing as well, so allowing you guys to kind of watch the haircut happen. And then if you have questions, let me know. So my guideline is traveling guide. So I'm cutting a square back at this point as I'm moving to the right. My goal with this is to not build up, just build a consistent weight line horizontally across the back, and then start connecting into the front, creating a little bit more of a triangular feel on the right side. And then on the left side, that's my part side, that's the weaker side. I'm gonna cut more of a rounded shape in that. Let's see. All right, cool. Are you using the wide teeth of the comb? That's a great question. So I'm using the wide teeth of the comb, but they're not super wide. So I'm using if you look at, I'll use 2 different combs in this cut. So this one is the YS Park 339 comb. It's got wide teeth, but they're not wide. They hold pretty good tension. This is a little too much tension for me for this cut, but it just depends on, what you're going for. So I like to use the wide teeth of this. Then I use also the YS Park 338 comb, which has super wide teeth. I'm gonna use that later when I start just smoothing the hair out and stuff, because I want the wide teeth on the dry hair. All right, let's see. Great question. All right, so you can see I'm continuing through same way. Everything's coming back to that guideline, the previously cut hair. So I take a little bit of the new hair, bring it back to quite a bit of the old hair. So I have a nice strong guide, and you can start to see that buildup of weight in there. And this is one of my favorite things about cutting the hair this way, is just watching the shape, the actual shape of the bob that you're gonna be working on anyways, unfolding right before your eyes. And that's the most important part to me, because I can make that first cut and then determine, is this exactly where I want it to sit, or do I want it a little bit shorter? So for me, it makes more sense as we're working through it. All right. Could we use, it's a good question, Leslie. Could we use a razor, or would this be better with shears or scissors? You can use either tool. It doesn't really matter. Just know that a razor is going to give you a little bit softer feel. So it would be a great choice if they have super thick hair to go through it and just give it a little bit softer edge. You could also do that with a scissor. You could do a little more point cutting instead of blunt cutting of your lines. So it really just depends. All right, Jessica, good question here. Love YS Park. I met them when they did their Pride Comb because they donated to the salon I work for, Project Q. That's awesome. I'm back. Good old batteries. All right. So you can see that we're just continuing through it. So nothing's really changed here, coming straight back. So just pretend like you're in a box when you're cutting this part of the head. So I take everything back to me and I just pretend like I can't go over any further behind the ear. I just come straight back from the ear. What that's gonna do is give me a little bit of heaviness in the corner. Now, the way that you cut this, you will feel like you have a hole in the haircut. What I want you guys to understand is that we will go through and we'll cut the perimeter. That perimeter is sitting way longer than it's gonna sit in the end result. So that part, actually, let me just rewind that a little bit. Yeah, right there. So that back point where the nape is, that's actually, you can see how long that is. We're gonna take most of that off. So that's kind of the great part about this. When we start cutting from the bottom up, a lot of times we cut that bottom so short because we're trying to cut it exactly the way it's gonna live. When you cut it from the top down, I feel like it gives you a little bit more freedom and you don't even think about that bottom, which you shouldn't really that much. So pretty cool aspect of this cut. Let's see. All right, so now we're gonna work on the opposite side. So right here, you can see that my finger's now pointing up in the air. That's the biggest difference in the two sides. So on the first side, my fingers are pointing down. We've talked about this before, but if you're new to these classes, you want your thumb to be pointing in the direction you're moving. So if I'm moving in this direction, my thumb's this way. If I'm moving in this direction, my thumb is this way. What that does is it shifts your body position of how you comb. So if I'm combing the hair here, I'm just gonna go to my camera. So if I'm combing the hair here, I comb it towards, so the new hair, so this would be my new hair. I take the new hair, pull it to the guideline, right? And I bring it here and I cut it. So then I take my next section, new hair to the guideline. If I did the same combing on the opposite side of the head, I'd be pushing the guide into the hair. So if I shift my hand like this, and now I come over top, I'm now grabbing the new hair, combing it over, and bringing it into the guide. So new hair to the guide, new hair to the guide. That's the goal as we work through it. All right, resume, here we go. Okay, so same thing as I work through here. Let's see. You can see I'm following that guide from the previous side. Makes it super simple to be consistent with this haircut. If you guys are enjoying this class this way, a little bit more talking, but you can see it close up, and I feel like it's a cleaner way of teaching. But just write awesome in the chat if you like it. Let me know. And we're just cutting through. Very cool. All right, Kristen, I'll take it. Michelle, cool. Awesome sauce. I'll be able to take that. All right, question here. I've tried cutting like you and I still end up with one side being longer. Why? So it takes time. This takes time, guys. I think that's one of the biggest things people struggle with. And sometimes I even get done with a cut and I'm like, that's a little bit. I think the biggest thing is don't rush yourself. And as you're working through the cut, just make sure that you're checking as you work through it. Check horizontally. So I'm cutting a square back. If I look at this horizontally and I'm only like a couple inches into it, I should be able to pull it out horizontally and look and make sure that my line is parallel with the back of the head, because I want that to be consistent. So that's what I would do is as I'm going through it is just keep checking as you work through it. And that'll make you better because that'll make you understand where you might be actually creating one longer side, and then you could fix that. But if you wait till the end of the haircut and then all of a sudden you see that a side's longer, not only should you redo the haircut, but you also don't know really where it went wrong. So check as you go. Sign of a pro, check as you go. Isn't that this? No, that's not it. Clean as you go, but whatever. Susan's asking, are you pulling the sides back to a stationary guide? No, we're traveling. We traveled all the way across the back of the head, little by little, half-inch section at a time. And then when we get to the behind the ear, that's over directed straight back to us to cut a parallel line to our shoulders. So if I'm staring straight into the back of the head, that line's parallel to my shoulders as I go through. Good questions, guys. Good job. So make sure, guys, if you have a question, put Q and then your question just in case I don't see it. I did see this one, but if you have a question, type Q and put your question in there. Are there mannequins better than others that you prefer? I prefer pivot point mannequins. It's the ones I always get. Pivot Point's also a good supporter of free salon education. They've been doing it for a long time. We've been working together. I cut mannequins a lot, obviously. So I just ordered, I think, 20 new mannequins from them. That's my choice. That's my go-to. This is the Erica mannequin from Pivot Point, one of my favorites. So Melinda, this is a great question because I think so the way that I think about haircutting is, let me see if I have, let me grab a bald head here. Grab Baldy. All right, so, and let me flip over to my camera so I can answer this for you. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. So here's the deal. So as we go through and cut the head, right? So for me, the question is, am I cutting this at, let's see, are you cutting at 45 all the way through? So Melinda, I'm gonna answer this for you. Now, if you look at the surface of the head, how we're kind of taught in school is that we're cutting with the floor, right? So 180 degrees from the floor would be straight up in the air. 90 degrees, I think they still teach that you follow the round of the head in a circle, but then also 45 degrees, they're saying is basically off of the floor, cutting at a 45 degree angle. The way that I think about this is we're cutting on a round surface, so 45 changes throughout the head shape. So on the back of the head, there's so much of a curve that happens here. If I'm holding the hair at this angle at the start, see if this comb shows up better. So if I'm holding the hair at this angle at the start, you can see that from all the way up to the occipital bone, which is right here, that's all the same angle, which is 90 degrees coming out from the head, right? Then as soon as it gets over the occipital bone, then it starts to go away from the head because the head curves away. So what happens is this just gets heavier and heavier because the degree goes from being 90, which would be all this, to then whatever this is, which is straight out from the head that way. So as I'm coming up, it becomes more 45 degrees up here. So when I pulled the hair out and I cut my first section here, this was at about 45 degrees. But then as I go into the nape and into the neck, now I'm at 90 degrees. So the degree changes because I don't base everything like the world is flat. I base everything like the world is round. So I focus all of my angles. So this is 90 coming through. If I'm holding it here and I'm elevating it all the way up in the air like this, so if I'm bringing my section straight up, that to me is 180 degrees. If I take the hair here and I shift it down and cut it here, that's 45 degrees for me. So I think about it like that as I go through and cut instead of the other way around, which is where a lot of us, it depends on what school you went to, but we're all taught a little bit different. But to let you into my head, that's where we're at. All right, continuing with the cut. All right, so the one thing I want you guys to notice in this part of the haircut is my elevation on the sides. This is where a lot of people don't really go into detail. They're so obsessed with the back of the cut and cutting that bob shape, but there's so much that goes into the sides and the elevation of it because you don't want it to be super heavy on the sides because then you can't get a nice blunt cut line. So when you look at all these haircuts that have these super nice blunt line, blunt angles here, it's because it's slightly elevated throughout the side, so it lightens up the hairline, and then you can go through and cut a really nice, precise line. If I didn't elevate that hair right there, then what would happen is it would be too heavy, and then I would cut it, and it would just look like it was just hanging there, if that makes sense. So super important to go through and just make sure you elevate the sides as you're working. All right, cool. Let's see. Hand placement for lefties, Jay, good call. Here's the biggest thing. Ben Brown has been adding things to the FSE Now app, which is our app on iPhone and Android. It's free. If you check out the Ben Brown section, he cuts hair really, really well, and he's left-handed. So he goes through left-handed placement. For me to tell you is really just you do the opposite of what I'm doing. So if I was this way on the right side, you're this way on the left side. Just completely flip it and do it the opposite. Is there a guide behind the ear? Yeah. So all that guide is coming from the previously cut hair. All right, cool. Let's continue through. So see that elevation? I'm not straight down. I'm elevating it nice and high to make it nice and light through it. You can see right there, like right under the ear where that hole is. That's what we're taught in school to freak out about, when in reality, that's where the bob's gonna be. It's gonna be at that point. If you wanted it to be a little bit longer bob, then you would cut all this graduation longer, same angle, just a little bit longer, and then you would have a longer feeling around the ear there. Let's see. Jess, good call. Pivot point mannequins are SA 8000 code of ethics, which basically means that they make the mannequins in a humane way. If you're buying a $30 mannequin off of some place, it's probably because they're made in terrible conditions and people are treated terrible. So that's another reason, because I don't know where other people make their mannequins. I know where Pivot Point does. That's why I use them. Good call. That's OG comment right there. How can you order Pivot Point? Just Pivot Point. I think it's pivot-point.com, I think. But Google Pivot Point mannequin and you will you'll see them. Very cool. All right, guys, so we're going to continue through the right-hand side here. And this is going to be a little more over-directed back. Also notice that I've sectioned off the top because I'm going to cut that separate. But I'm over-directing everything straight back. I want to create more of a triangular feel on this side. The opposite side, I kind of followed that diagonal parting through. Gave it a little bit of a triangular feel, but I followed more of the round of the head. This one, I'm cutting a straight diagonal forward line, over-directing it back, pushing a little extra weight to the right side because we're going to create this nice asymmetrical bob feel. All right. How differently would you have to cut it to make it a stacked bob? This could actually be a stacked bob. So great question, Kathy. This could be a stacked bob. The only difference is that's not how I ended up cutting it to finish. But the actual graduation, you could go a little bit more layered effect to it. You could change your finger angle in the back and have it more stacked. The more you mimic the more you stay under 90 degrees, but the higher you go in elevation, you still got to stay under 90, otherwise it's not a graduation. But the more you get close to that 90-degree point, the higher it's going to live on the head. All right, cool. Let's see. So Linda, today we're focused on this cut, but I got a medium cut coming up for you for sure. So stay tuned. Make sure you follow me on the text, 215-608-2612. Just text me hi, and I'll make sure that I work on a cut like that for you. Let's see. All right, guys, so we're just following through, still elevating the hair, slight more over direction on this side, and that's about it. I think this is a good point here to tell you guys that if you go to Shop FSE, let me see, let me move me and then you can see that. Shop FSE, all the tools that I use in these videos to create these videos, the clips, the combs, the scissors, everything is available on our website, shopfse.com, if you're looking for tools. If you're not, cool. If you need tools, please buy them from us. That helps with the free salon education that we're doing here. Very cool. All right, so now I'm just working through the top section. So I let that down. Look at how I work through the back first. So I'm really just connecting these back sections. So I'll comb the hair down, figure out what hair wants to fall on the back, and then what hair wants to stay on the sides. And that's kind of how I decide how I connect it. Take my guide from underneath and just continue that elevation. Remember, elevation's got to be up. I try to keep it below 0 there. So if straight up is 90 off the top of the head, then 0 is obviously going to be straight out from that point. So you can see no over direction, just a slight little overhead angle for you guys. I like the overhead angle almost all the time, but for this cut, I didn't use it much because I just felt like the side and showing you guys the finger angle was most important. Jess, good call. So she's saying episode 33 was a long bob with a fringe. So somebody was asking, there's a lot. We've done a lot of different cuts. So if you're looking for one, we've probably done it. But if not, we'll do it. All right, so you can see this overhead angle. This was kind of a better way to show it so you guys can see my finger angle, how I'm cutting it. I'm really just following the guideline from underneath. But I'm keeping it pretty high elevation throughout because when you look at how much hair is going to fall on this side, you want it to be nice and soft. So it's kind of easier to see that consistency through the layering, but you can also see that there's a slight graduation laying underneath there. That's because of that elevation that I'm doing right now. Cool. How do you start the back first? So that's a good question. If you missed the beginning of this class, you can go back and watch. So whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, as soon as it's over, you'll be able to rewind it back. So just hit the save button on the video so you can save it to your watch later or whatever it is videos. And then also know that I'm going to redo this into a short version for YouTube and our FSE Now app so that you guys have access to a quicker version. Some of you guys like to learn things faster, so that's an easy way. All right. Cool. So we're finishing up. This is the last section here. Everything got over-directed up. Now I'm going to go in with Moroccan oil. This is actually some really good stuff here. This is a smoothing lotion. I put it on the hair just to smooth it out. So I did a few pumps. Probably could have done a little bit less, but I go a little overboard with product. Run that through the hair and then comb it through before I start my blow dry. I'm going to do a flat wrap blow dry. I'll let you guys do a little bit of enjoying the blow dry, but you guys can see how it smooths out. Like, this is the part that I love. From occipital bone down, it gets nice and smooth and sleek because it's at 90 degrees. No real weight buildup. And then at the top is where that graduation starts to come in. It's just super cool to see that start to unfold. All right. This is a good cut for to look like added volume. Yes and no. Like, so if you have super thin hair, I would probably change my finger angle a little bit, add a little bit more weight to it. So yes and no. You got to adjust that stuff. It's the wrong song. I know. Here, let's see. How about this one? This is a good one. All right, so now we're going to go through and we're going to detail the outer perimeter. So notice how I'm just using the scissor to kind of draw my line first, and I work through. Now, the reason this is so easy to go through and cut is because of that elevation, because of the light feel to that outer perimeter line. So if I didn't elevate it, this would be very difficult. I'd be chopping through it for hours, right? So just going through, detailing that line, you can see how beautiful this all falls together. So I always blow dry it at the end just to get a little bit of that weight out. Now I'm going in with this is the Mizutani Acro Leaf Wide. Which one did I use here? M15. So one of my favorite texturizers. It's a dry cutting scissor and a texturizer, so that's why it glides through so easy. That's on freesaloneducation.com or shop FSE. Now I go in with my T trimmer just to detail the line even more. Any tool I can use to make my job faster and easier, I'm going to do it. So T trimmer, just go through and then finish it off with a little bit of Moroccan oil hairspray to finish up the final details. I hope you guys like this cut. I'll answer more questions at the end. This is the end result. Beautiful, asymmetrical cut. Now, if you didn't want it to be asymmetrical, you could just finish your line differently at the end, and it would be fine as well. But I like that asymmetry feel throughout the cut. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Oh, it's got to be right now. That's the one. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it here. You guys like the... That's the one. That's the one. Oh. Video's over. Actually, I want to find the... Yeah, there we go. So I just want to show it one more time. You can see the line. Yeah, I couldn't delete this song from you guys. All right. Awesome. Very, very cool. Perfect. That's what it's called. No, it's called something else. Well, no, yeah, it is called that. I just have happy written on my thing. Thank you, Valerie. Appreciate it. Very cool. Cool, cool. Love seeing everybody's comments. Appreciate it. All right. I'm going to pop back to my camera. All right, guys. So what'd you think of the class? I know this is a little bit shorter version, but for me, I thought it made more sense. And honestly, I got the inspiration for that cut, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be ideal. So I didn't want to do it live for you guys unless I thought the end result was worth it. And for me, it was worth it. So hopefully you guys feel the same. Just saw the text to join Zen. That's okay. You can watch it back. So, if you guys want, join the text thread right here. Holy smokes, that just got real big. How did that happen? Oh, that's not it. Oh, yeah, it is. All right. I'm losing my mind. So yeah, if you want to jump in on these classes in the future and you want to know when they're going to happen, text 215-608-2612. Just text class, text hi, whatever you want to say. You could even text me what you want the class to be about. I'll take a look at it and see if that's something we can do in the near future. And that's pretty much that. Aligned perfectly with my break today. That's awesome. All right. Again, thank you to my friends at minervabeauty.com. If you guys are looking for salon furniture, please go check them out. They just redid their website too. It's beautiful. They got a lot of cool things going on over there. Also, go follow them on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. And if you're a Twitter user, then go follow Free Salon Education on Twitter as well, at Salon Education. That would be fantastic. All right. Love the live class. Cutting from the middle section makes a lot of sense. Appreciate the education. You're very, very welcome. Yeah, for me, I feel like it made a ton of sense as well. Like being able to have more control of what this part of the hair was going to look like. This little bit. Because this... it's fine. Like this is always going to be flat. My fingers are always pretty much going to be here. But when I take this first cut and I say, is it going to be this angle? Is it going to be this angle? Is it going to be this angle? Like you don't know. But if you hold the hair up here straight out and you're like, I want that beveled edge because I can visualize that better. That makes sense to me. And then I just follow this finger angle straight down to the nape. For me, it's a win-win on cutting this type of haircut. So glad it makes sense to you guys. And thank you to Ben Brown for the inspiration on that. Let's see. Cool. All right, so if you guys get a chance, go to the FSE Now app on the App Store. Just download it, type in FSE Now. Tons of cool stuff. I'd love to share with you guys some of the new updates. I'll show you guys a couple things. So now we have a Discover page. So all of your work shows up on the Discover page. And then if you're like, oh, I really like this person's work, let's say Brian, for instance, here, I can click on Brian's profile. And here I can see all of his stuff and I can hit follow and follow him to then see his work in my follow feed throughout it. Now, that's not even the best part of this whole thing. We also have a whole library of education. So this class, you get alerts when we add a new video. I have different artists that I'm adding on there as well. People that I look up to, people that I think are really great. So I'm adding their videos like Ben Brown, like Jamie Dana. Tons of new stuff happening all the time. And then also, you can build your own profile, of course, and you can upload your images, your pictures from the salon. And then it goes over to our website, stylistlocator.com. So if you're on here, a couple of people were like, do you know a good stylist in, I think somebody said the Hamptons, a couple people said other places. If you go to stylistlocator.com, you can put in your zip code and it'll pull up profiles from the stylists that are creating on FSE Now. So that's a great way to connect, send a message to a stylist and book an appointment with them throughout our app. So pretty cool stuff. All right. If you guys need anything, go check out Instagram at Free Salon Education. I'm posting tons of videos there. I appreciate you guys being on here live. Can't wait to be back here again. We'll see. I'm hoping tomorrow. I'm going to do a class for you guys tomorrow on here, probably around 12 o'clock. So it'll either be 12 or 2. Sorry, I can't commit yet. But the goal is to do a class tomorrow. At the end of the show, what do we say?
It's going to be a great day.
It's going to be a great day.
Chop it, clip it, spray it, flip it.
All right. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the class. Can't wait to see you guys again.
Chop it, clip it, spray it,
I'll see you soon.
flip it. Let me show you the way. It's going to be a great day. Chop it, clip it, spray it, flip it. I woke up this way. It's going to be a great day. Chop it, clip it, spray it, flip it.